Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting.
Glad to be here.
Today, Chamath Palihapitiya declares the death of the SaaS unicorns. A 21-year-old builds a money printing machine with a single prompt, and rumors of Garlic, aka GPT 5.3, are setting the timeline on fire.
There is a massive amount of noise to sift through today.
So much noise. I mean, looking at the sheer volume in the stack today, the speed of innovation is starting to feel less like progress and more like this crazy centrifugal force.
It's disorienting.
Exactly. I feel like every time I refresh my feed, an entire industry has been disrupted before I've even finished my coffee.
It is incredibly noisy, certainly. But my job is to filter the signal from that noise. And if you look closely at the data we have today, from the GitHub repos to the VC timelines, the underlying economic physics of the internet are shifting.
Shifting how, exactly?
We aren't just seeing new apps anymore. We are seeing a fundamental change in what value actually looks like. The tectonic plates of the tech industry are moving, and some very big buildings are about to fall.
Well, let's test that theory for everyone listening. We have to start with the lead story because it is ruffling a lot of feathers in Silicon Valley right now.
The Chamath thread.
Yep, we've got a viral thread from @Chamath. He is calling out some of the absolute darlings of the tech world. Superbase, Vercel, Stripe.
The Walking Dead, I believe he called them.
Right. He's putting a sell rating on the entire sauce layer. His argument is basically that these service companies are doomed because they don't control a unique capability.
Why pay a premium for a service when an open source AI agent can just build the infrastructure for you?
Exactly.
This is a classic commoditization of the complement argument, but on steroids. Think about it. For the last 10 years, the playbook was pretty simple.
Find a difficult technical problem.
Right, like hosting a database or processing a credit card. You wrap it in a nice UI, charge a monthly fee, and become a unicorn. That is rent-seeking SaaS. You are charging people for convenience.
And Chamath is saying the rent is due.
He's saying the landlord is dead. If I could just ask an AI agent to spin up a database on AWS and manage the scaling for me, and it does it for the cost of the raw compute, the value of that wrapper goes to zero.
Because the moat used to be ease of use.
Precisely. And that evaporates because the AI makes literally everything easy to use. The margin that companies like Vercel or Stripe captured was a complexity tax.
So AI agents are effectively taxidators.
That's a good way to put it.
That sounds great in theory and terrifying if you hold stock in those companies, but is it actually happening right now? Because we have evidence A right here in the research pile.
The Peter Yang post.
Yes, @Peter Yang shared the details on Nat Eliason and his bot, Felix.
The OpenClaw bot. This is a fascinating case study because it moves us from theory into actual practice.
So purely for you guys listening who haven't seen the thread, Nat sets up this bot, Felix, he gives it a goal, he goes to sleep, he wakes up, and Felix has built a website, created a product called Clawmart, set up the Stripe account, and launched the business. In 3 weeks, this bot generated $14,718 from a $1,000 seed investment.
The revenue is flashy, sure, and 14 grand in 3 weeks is nothing to sneeze at. But I really want to focus on the architecture because that's the real insight here.
Why Felix worked when so many other agent demos just crash and burn.
Exactly. It's not magic. It's memory management. Most AI agents have the attention span of a goldfish.
They hallucinate.
Because they run out of context window. They forget what they decided 10 minutes ago. Felix solves this with a strict hierarchy.
Peter Yang broke this down as a 3-layer memory system.
First layer, paragraph summaries for immediate recall. What are we doing right now?
Second layer, daily notes for midterm context. What did we achieve today?
And the third layer is nightly consolidation into a database for long-term storage.
It's essentially mimicry of human sleep consolidation. It dreams its data into long-term memory.
Precisely. It creates a persistent state of consciousness that allows it to handle simultaneous multi-chat operations without a human stepping in to remind it who it is.
That is wild.
It is, but I have to play devil's advocate here. Is Clawmart a sustainable business, or is it just novelty arbitrage?
You mean, are people buying it just because an AI made it?
Right. Making 14K selling to other AI enthusiasts who are excited about the tech is one thing. Building a Fortune 500 company that solves a real problem for a plumber in Ohio is another.
So Felix proves the tech works, but doesn't necessarily prove the business model is durable.
It feels a bit like selling shovels during a gold rush, except the shovel is digging for invisible gold.
Fair point. But if we want to talk about durability and scale, look at Peter Steinberger. Handle is @SteepPete.
The creator of OpenClaw.
Exactly, the underlying tech Nat used. He posted about spinning up 50 Codex instances in parallel. This isn't selling trinkets. This is enterprise-grade work.
This is where that death of SaaS argument gets real teeth. Steinberger is dealing with an absolute onslaught of pull requests, code submissions from the community.
No human can review them all.
No. So he has 50 AI agents analyzing code for vision and intent.
Vision and intent, that's a massive distinction from the old automated tools, isn't it?
It is the only distinction that matters. Traditional tools check for syntax. Did you miss a semicolon? AI checks for logic. Does this code actually do what the user asked?
And he's generating JSON reports, handling over 3,000 submissions automatically. Deduplication, auto-closing bad requests.
It's a self-modifying personal assistant that manages his open-source project while he sleeps.
So zoom out for a second. Steinberger is one guy doing the work of a 20-person quality assurance department.
Right, so if one developer with 50 AI agents can maintain a massive code base, what happens to the B2B seat license model?
You mean companies like Salesforce, Jira, GitHub?
They charge per head. They actively want you to hire more people so they can sell more seats.
But if the head is a piece of software...
Why does a company need to buy 50 licenses for Jira if one super dev runs the whole show?
You can't charge a monthly subscription for an AI agent that costs pennies to run.
The entire pricing model of the B2B software industry is predicated on human inefficiency. If you remove the humans, you break the revenue model.
That is a terrifying thought for sales teams everywhere. But you know who isn't terrified right now?
The hardware guys.
Exactly. While software is eating itself, at Adcock Brett just hit number 141 on the rich list.
19.1 billion net worth.
Primarily via Figure AI, his robotics company. He posted this wild juxtaposition growing up on a farm with no money, and now he's building literal sci-fi robots.
It's a cyclical shift. We spent 20 years valuing bits over atoms because bits were scarce and scalable.
Now AI makes bits cheap and abundant, code is free, content is free.
As we just saw, SaaS is becoming a commodity, so where does the value go?
Back to the atoms.
Back to the physical constraints. The robots, the chips, the energy, the data centers. If I can generate 1 million lines of code for $1, the code isn't the asset anymore.
The robot that can actually execute that code in the physical world is the asset.
Adcock is betting that the physical world is the final moat. You can't copy-paste a robot factory.
Speaking of cheap bits and abundant intelligence, let's pivot to the rumor mill, because it is absolutely buzzing today about garlic.
Garlic, the code name for GPT 5.3.
We're seeing rumors from @DanielMac8 and @RuthaWorldMo. They're saying the release date is this Thursday, February 26th.
The timeline is going nuts over this.
Headline claim is a simple bench score of 83.7%, which outright beats the human baseline.
It is huge, but we really need to look at the nuance in those leaks. There is a massive caveat that the hype train is completely ignoring.
That it won't be a huge leap on code.
Right. Which seems counterintuitive given everything we just discussed about agents.
Why wouldn't they push coding capabilities?
Because the buzz is that OpenAI is leaning heavily into Codex for the coding side. Garlic seems to be a purer reasoning model, a System 2 thinking update.
So it dominates on non-coding benchmarks, creative writing, nuance, complex instructions.
We are seeing specialization. If you're a developer waiting for GPT 5.3 to write your entire app from scratch better than 4 Turbo, you might be disappointed.
One brain for logic, one brain for syntax.
Exactly. OpenAI seems to be betting that reasoning and coding are diverging paths that require totally different architectures.
Well, Google isn't waiting around for OpenAI to decide. While everyone is whispering about garlic, Google just updated AI Studio.
Powered by anti-gravity. I saw this on a testing catalog.
It looks intense. They're talking about building full-stack apps with multiplayer support, secure connections to external APIs like Twilio, all via natural language.
This is Google's Counter-Strike. They are trying to verify the walled garden thesis.
How so?
It's the fundamental difference between OpenAI and Google right now. OpenAI gives you the model via API and you build the wrapper. Google wants to give you the environment where the model lives.
So you literally never leave Chrome.
You never leave Google Cloud. They want to ensure that when these agents are built, they are native to Google's infrastructure. It's a platform play.
Because they know the models will commoditize.
Yes. So they are trying to lock you in at the hosting and connection layer. Anti-gravity isn't just a cool name. It's an attempt to keep you from flying off to AWS. They want to be the operating system for the agent economy.
And while the giants fight over the platform, the indie developers are going absolutely nuclear with these tools.
The one-shot revolution.
I saw a post from Ernesto Lopez. Handle is at Ernesto Software. He's 21 years old. He used a tool called Rourke to build a push-up tracker app.
Native iOS, right?
Native iOS, AR integration to count your reps via the camera, everything. He built it in one shot, one single prompt.
And he's already doing $73K in monthly recurring revenue across his portfolio.
Which is insane.
It is. But here's the warning label I'd slap on this for anyone listening who thinks they're about to get rich quick.
What's the catch?
If a 21-year-old can clone your app idea in 60 seconds using Rourke, your moat is gone.
The App Store is about to be flooded with good enough software.
Exactly. So if the code is a commodity, what becomes the actual differentiator?
Distribution and brand.
That's it. If I can build a push-up tracker, and you can build a push-up tracker, the winner is just the one who has the audience.
The competition shifts from who has the best engineers to who has the best TikTok following.
The technical barrier to entry has dropped to zero, which means the noise barrier is about to go to infinity.
Which brings us to the tools the engineers are using to navigate this. We have to mention at GitHub, they just announced Copilot now has agentic memory.
Finally, this was the missing piece for them.
It remembers your repo context. So if you're working on a project, you don't have to keep re-explaining the file structure to the AI.
Great for developers, obviously, but privacy advocates are sweating, and rightly so.
Because you are giving Microsoft a permanent memory of every line of code.
Every mistake, every secret key you accidentally pasted and then deleted. It's not just reading the code.
It's reading the intent behind the code.
It requires a level of trust that I'm not sure every enterprise is ready to give.
It's one thing to host your code. It's another to understand your IP better than your own employees do.
It creates a tremendous amount of leverage for Microsoft. If you ever try to leave GitHub, you aren't just leaving a repository. You're leaving the only entity that really understands how your software works.
Let's pivot to culture, because this reality blur is getting very real. You mentioned marketing and distribution are everything now.
Yes.
Well, marketing just got dirt cheap. I saw a thread from @Yuanglu showing how to recreate a $1 million American Eagle ad look for under $10.
$10. That number is staggering.
Using tools like Arcads and Nano Banana, they generated the actors, the voice, the motion. It looked incredible.
The cost of content is crashing. If we look at this from an economic perspective, this is the hollowing out of the creative middle class.
The lighting crew, the casting director, the location scout.
Why hire any of them when you have a render farm?
It feels like we are moving to a world where the only cost is electricity and taste.
And taste is the operative word there. Just because you can make $1 million ad for $10 doesn't mean it will be good.
But the barrier to entry is gone.
We are going to see a tsunami of high-gloss content. And frankly, it's going to make us cynical. When everything looks expensive, expensive stops signaling quality.
But there are practical applications that aren't just putting actors out of work. At Venture Twins posted a really positive use case about real estate.
Using ZipNerF technology.
Right.
I can select this use case.
Explain NERF to us quickly.
Neural radiance fields. Essentially, instead of using an expensive laser scanner to map a room, you take a few 2D photos. The AI then interpolates the light and physics to create a 3D model. It fills in the blanks.
And according to the Venture Twins, this creates a 3D walkthrough 24 times faster than the old tech.
This is actual value. It removes friction in high-ticket sales. If I'm buying a home, I want to walk through it virtually.
Old tech took 15 minutes to render a bad scan. This takes seconds.
It's not generating spam, it's generating clarity. This is where AI shines, taking a tedious physical process and digitizing it instantly.
Speaking of clarity, or the complete lack thereof, we have to talk about the uncanny valley.
Oh, the video's making rounds?
There are two. One is from ByteDance Seedance 2.0. It's a video of a grandma hating on AI. It looks like a literal Pixar movie.
The animation is unbelievable.
And then there's the robot video. At ChatGPT 21 posted this massive debate. Is the bed-making robot actually folding the clothes, or is it CGI?
Or a person in a suit with an AI overlay.
Exactly.
Here is the deep insight on this. If we can't tell if the robot is real, does it even matter? We have reached the point where digital evidence is inadmissible.
Inadmissible, that's a strong legal term.
Think about the legal system. It relies on the chain of custody for evidence. But the chain of custody for visual reality is completely broken.
Because you can't verify the source.
If I see a video of a robot doing chores, I have to assume it might be fake. If I see a video of a crime, I have to assume it might be fake. We are entering a zero-trust era for digital media. You literally cannot believe your eyes.
That is incredibly heavy. It changes how we interact with news, with history, with everything.
It changes the fabric of shared reality.
Let's try to find a silver lining here. Maybe we can look to the stars, or at least to Elon Musk.
Oh boy, there we go.
At Spy Doge posted this AI video of Elon dissolving into the cosmos, turning into galaxies. It's very mystical.
It's ambitious, I'll give them that. It
Yeah.
aligns with the XAI mission to understand the universe.
No.
But I roll my eyes a bit at the deification. It feels like a cult of personality rendered in 4K. Less about science and more about mythology.
Okay, well, if the cosmos doesn't cheer you up, how about this? Optimists live longer.
According to whom?
At Akasha Gupta posted about a new study. Even controlling for diet, exercise, smoking, optimists live 11 to 15% longer.
They probably live longer because they completely ignore the macroeconomic data I look at every day.
Ignorance is bliss, and apparently it's also longevity.
Seriously though, stress kills. And in a world changing this incredibly fast, retaining some level of optimism is probably a survival strategy.
Believing that the robots won't just take our jobs, but will clean our houses?
Right. If you assume the worst constantly, you paralyze yourself.
So what does this all mean for the immediate future? We have to wrap up with the controversy that might define the next few years.
The OpenAI pricing model. This is the big one. Everyone listening should be paying attention to this.
At Startup Archive dropped this bomb. OpenAI is floating the idea of outcome-based pricing.
This is the ultimate rent-seeking behavior. It's the Monsanto model applied to software.
Break it down for us. What does outcome-based mean in this context?
Basically, instead of paying for the API usage, the compute tokens, which is how it works now, OpenAI wants a royalty on the inventions you make with the AI.
Whoa!
If you use GPT-6 to discover a new drug, they don't want a subscription fee. They want a percentage of the drug revenue.
That changes the entire incentive structure for building anything.
It's absurd. If you use Excel to build a business, Microsoft doesn't get 5% of your revenue. If you use a hammer to build a house, Stanley doesn't own the guest room.
But OpenAI is trying to tax the innovation itself.
That is the battleground of 2026. They are trying to claim ownership over the results of your intelligence just because they augmented it.
What happens if they actually try to enforce this?
Developers will flee to open source so fast it'll make Sam Altman's head spin.
Which goes back to Chamath's point.
Exactly. This is why the open source models running on Chamath's Walking Dead infrastructure are so critical. They're the escape hatch.
If OpenAI tries to become the tax collector of the future will simply route around them.
100%.
That is going to be a massive legal fight. Okay, prediction time. We've got rumors of GPT 5.3 Garlic dropping Thursday. What happens Friday?
If Garlic drops Thursday, expect a massive sell-off in wrapper startups by Friday morning.
The company's just hooking up APIs.
Right. If the reasoning capabilities are as good as the rumors say, a lot of companies that just connect API A to API B are going to find themselves obsolete overnight. The market will correct, and it will be brutal.
We are going to see who has a real product and who is just renting intelligence. High stakes. I love it. Well, that's all we have time for today on our deep dive. Keep your vibes high and your burn rate low.
And read the user agreement before you build your company on someone else's model.
See you tomorrow.